Unbelievable. Good evening, YouTube. Nathan back here with another video presentation. And in this here video, what I wanted to talk to you guys is about. And when you see the title, you'll understand where I'm going with this. But before I get into that, if you are enjoying the content that you're seeing so far, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Please also continue to just check out the other content, the other subjects that I have touched on so far on this YouTube video, please. I'm open to any other topic to have an open dialogue and have that continue the conversation rolling. Excuse me. As you see the title, consider this a part 2 to the video I just did a few days ago, why I think this is not a good time for sports. And here we are again. And this just proves my point. Derek Jeter, former Yankee, CEO of the Miami Marlins, has come out and said he wants empathy for the Marlin players. If you're not aware of what occurred, there were about a week or so ago, there were 4 players from the Miami Marlins that tested positive for COVID-19. Then the numbers started to creep up. Now, according to Mr. Derek Jeter, I have it here. He's saying that the guys were definitely around each other. They were a little relaxed. They had their guard down. There was rumors going around that they were going to bars and different places. And obviously, he's the CEO, so he's going to get down to he's going to get to the nitty gritty of things. And, he said a couple guys had left the hotel. One went to get coffee. Another person that went to go get clothes. Another one went to go to a teammate's house for dinner. I mean, little things like that. But see, this is where Derek Jeter proved my point. And this is where Major League Baseball put the nail in the coffin. Because as you can see, this is a chaotic situation. Now I don't want to go as far as saying that it's to the point where this is bad, but this could have been prevented. When you look at the NBA, Chris Paul, the NBA Players Association have done a tremendous job investing in the bubble in Orlando. Here you have Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, Tony Clark, and the Players Association. Not one time was the discussion of having a bubble in place. Not one time before this season started was there talk about how many days should a player quarantine? Where can we play these games? What can we do? Even though that they were doing their COVID testing, which was, for the most part, before the season started, was done fairly well, But let's just call it what it is. We have guys in Major League Baseball that I don't see the bigger picture. They're not getting it. These guys can range from as young as 20, some 19, 18. But the max, let's just say the minimum age is 20. The maximum age I'd say is 37. Albert Pujols, because he's 40, but I'm talking about that in that age range. We don't know what these guys are doing. For all I know, I mean, supposedly, from what I'm understanding, look at the St. Louis Cardinals. You know, they have 7 players, 6 staff members. 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 members of the St. Louis Cardinals tested positive for COVID-19. And from my understanding, they were at a casino. Some of those players. But yet and still, you guys never once. If it was shut down. From what I'm understanding, it was never brought to the forefront again. I believe, from my understanding, it was talked about, and the players had an issue with it. They didn't want to be home. They didn't want to be away from their families. I totally understand that. Buster Posey, for example, is sitting out because he has, I believe, they're adopted premature twins. So obviously, he wants to be home, but the wife and family taking care of them. Ian Desmond is sitting out because if you look on his Instagram post that he made about a month or so ago, you know, the locker room discrimination, social injustice, basically saying this is bigger than baseball. You know, we have Mike Trout. Congratulations! I just want to give a shout out to Mike Trout. Congratulations on being a dad. Congratulations, you and the missus. Contemplating whether or not he wanted to play. But what I don't understand is that for a second, understand what's happening around us. We have people, and let's just call it what it is, are going back to the same normal lifestyle pre-coronavirus. What I mean by that is going to the concerts, going to beaches, going to these other outdoor events, not wearing the masks, not social distancing. Apparently, if you, in some cases, some of these cases are asymptomatic. But I'll give you an example. Look at California. Look at Melbourne. If I'm saying that correct, Melbourne, Australia. I believe they had 678 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Now, you can obviously make the case, and you can sit there and say that, you know, some states could have opened up a little too early, but I'm not going to get into that. But I just want you guys to understand where I'm going with this. The fact that Major League Baseball, you're telling me as players, as owners, you don't think your safety and your health matters. So at the end of the day, what matters more to you is money. Because from the looks of it, you couldn't even come to an agreement of how many games to play let alone how much money was going to be guaranteed. You had Blake Snell and Bryce Harper come out and say, I'm not taking no pay cut. That's essentially what they said. I mean, I wouldn't take a pay cut because of what's going on. 33 million, maybe more people had to file for unemployment. Some people on the risk of losing their jobs. Companies have to declare bankruptcy. You want to make sure that you have food on your family's table. I get that. But just hear me out on this. Bryce Harper and Blake Snell have made a good chunk of money. So I don't really understand as you feel as though that your health is not important, but you want to ensure that you're making that even though I get it, I do, but I just need some clarification on this. So you're telling me that you'd rather it's more about the money than your health. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong on that, asking that question, please. Then obviously we go to the owners. We know what the owners are. The owners are about money, and it's all about a profit. At the end of the day, they're making money off these guys, and at the end of the day, Major League Baseball, we can say for the fact that I think is spoiled. It's greedy. A lot of issues over the years get swept under the rug. They get dealt with when owners feel like dealing with it. Look, for example, after the 1994 baseball strike, those owners, some are actually still owners to this day, some knew Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro, knew they were taking steroids. But they needed those fans back in those seats because of this. Because of the money. They need the money. It's all about making a profit. I get it. I totally understand. But you're going to tell me as a business owner, as a businessman, woman, you're not going to construct some type of plan for the safety and health of your players, for your team, for the organization? Excuse me. You're not going to do that? So in other words, you're going to tell me that in the times that you negotiated, because listen, like I said, let's be honest, both sides were just hard-headed of how many games to play. You're telling me that you couldn't, hey, we really need to really talk about having a bubble system in place. I don't get what's hard about that. I would want some type of security. I would want some type of system in place. When you have guys like Derek Jeter asking for empathy for his players knew better. They all knew better. These are grown men. It's plastered all over our medias. It's plastered. You have governors, you have senators, some politicians, that are trying to make sure you guys understand you need to take this serious. That person that went to go get clothes, was it worth it? That person that went to go grab a coffee, could you tell me there wasn't coffee at that hotel? You went to the person's house for dinner. I mean, that's great. Was it worth it? And I'm not trying to sit here and cast spurs under bash these guys, but we need to hold ourselves accountable and be responsible. And that's what that's something that Derek Jeter's not getting. If he was playing baseball, Derek Jeter would be furious. Derek Jeter would make it known, you're going to take this serious. Because here it is, it's Tuesday. Rob Manfred said by by Monday, if there's not a handle on this, Major League Baseball seasons should be canceled. My question is, this could have all been prevented. But yet you guys were so hard-headed, both sides. Games, money. Oh, we don't want that. Look, you guys have probably most likely just cost yourselves the whole season. I don't get it. I don't understand. And what's funny, we're so quick to jump on Rob Manfred. Yes, Rob Manfred is the commissioner, but he's the guy that answers to the owners. How come we're not talking about the owners? How come we're not asking the owners, how come there's no system in place? And how come we're not talking about Tony Clark and the Players Association? Tony Clark should have pushed these guys, hey, listen, we need to have a system like that in place. Why is that not talked about? But yeah, we want to jump down Rob Manfred's throat and act like he's responsible. No, there are major components, and everyone has to be held accountable for this. Plain and simple. This isn't about how much money you're going to make this season. This isn't about who is going to be a World Series contender. No, forget all that for a second. No. This is a serious situation right now where other players, other teams could put each other at risk. And this is where Major League Baseball as a whole should be ashamed of itself. And this is coming from a baseball fan. This is coming from somebody who loves the game. But to see this chaos in the last almost now 2 weeks going on is pathetic. And what Derek Jeter said in this article just makes my point. Personally, if you ask me, those teams that have been affected just forfeit the games. Tighter restrictions. But let's call it what it is. A coach should not have to text or call any grown athlete, man or woman. Like, for example, the Mets. Cespedes, for the outfielder for the Mets, went AWOL. With all due respect, that's a grown man. You're telling me Cespedes couldn't pick the phone up and said, I'm not playing. The team tried to call him, texting him. Nowhere to be found. But came out the next day and said, I'm not playing. But the team tried to call you. You didn't respond. You got players, and I said this in that video. I said it. Don't be surprised if players for other teams get uncomfortable and want to sit out because the actions of some of their colleagues and what the choices they made. Now again, I'm not bashing them, but when you see the title of this video, you'll understand it. there's so many fingers that we can listen. We can sit here and point fingers at one group or one person, but at the end of the day, we need to hold Major League Baseball as a whole accountable. And I don't want to sit here, and I don't want to hear them talk about this is a sport that's clearly a distant third. Their crowds. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. That's not the point. Doesn't matter if you have an older crowd, a younger crowd. No. Take that all away for a sec. That's irrelevant. We're talking about Major League Baseball, the Players Association, and the owners need to get to the table and figure out how to prevent more cases from occurring, more players getting sick. They need to figure that out. NFL, Roger Goodell, owners, NFL Players Association. The clock is ticking. I'm real curious. You've had several NFL players that have already sat out, that are going to sit out. You have one in Odell Beckham Jr., who, to me, said he was going to sit out. Then he said he wasn't going to sit out. But I have an issue with Odell Beckham Jr. That's a whole other subject for another video. It's just bad. And I didn't think for this article, it took me to make it drove my point home. I didn't think for somebody to sit there, a CEO, and have empathy and ask for it. But again, listen, I'm glad those guys are okay, because from what I'm understanding, some of them had the mild symptoms, some of them were asymptomatic. I'm not trying to say I told you so. I'm not saying that. Please don't misconstrue my words. What I'm saying is you need to take this serious. Wearing the mask, socially distancing. You know, this is no joke. I'll be honest with y'all. It's scary to go out here sometimes, because I sometimes feel like, damn, like I gotta look over my shoulder. I get paranoid sometimes. And you already see with rising cases in several and across the country, because people are going back to what they were doing before. Pre-coronavirus, like I said earlier in the video. I'll leave it at this. Major League Baseball, I would really, really love to see the owners and the Players Association come to some type of meeting, some type of something where there needs to be a system in place, because I don't know what can happen tomorrow. I don't know what can happen next week. For all I know is there could be no cases tomorrow. Friday there could be 20 cases. I don't know. We have to take it one day at a time. But we need to take this serious. And what this shows me is that health for not only yourself, but those your teammates and others were kind of put on where it's a priority, but it's not a priority for some. And these guys should be held accountable for that. Something needs to be done. Like I said, the clock's ticking. That's all I wanted to say in this video. My next video, Jonathan Isaac. As most of us know, Jonathan Isaac, he's a basketball player for the Orlando Magic. Besides, I think it was him and another player, I believe it was Myers Leonard, did not take a knee. Jonathan Isaac did not take a knee. He didn't wear the Black Lives Matter t-shirt. And I'm going to take a couple days to really make sure that what I say in that video, my thoughts are constructed precisely. And I want to make sure that I'm saying I want to make sure that this is a dialogue that we can start, because this is an interesting topic, and I feel like he started a discussion that really, honestly, should be talked about, but from what I'm seeing, that's not the narrative. So be on the lookout for that video. I have finished my review for MLB The Show 20. That video should be uploaded sometime this week. So be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Again, consider hitting that subscribe button. For more content, I am open to any suggestions that you guys may have. With that being said, I'm up. Peace. Stay up.